Our focus today is session 5. It is a genius, not a vending machine. Okay? How to get powerful results with deep, rich interactions. This is the emphasis of today. And I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole into longer interactions that produce better and better results. I'm going to give you framework for doing that. And then you'll be in a good place. Now, that's not enough. So as we start, let's consolidate the learning from last week. It's very fast. Let's remember 2 things. Number 1, this is what we want to see that you have achieved in about 2 more sessions, 7 total. You've invested at the right level, so you know you're not paying for something you don't use or need. You've joined the right cohort. When you leave here, you need to be in the right group. That cohort will be somebody probably in 200, 300, 400. 100 is on demand. You can take that right now at your own pace. You've planned your growth through these learning tracks. You're like, I'm going to go do this or that, or I'm not, or I'm going to put 2 team members in this to help my business grow. That's up to you. You're comfortable working with the basics of MecLabs. You're using it more and more in your workflow, and you're excited about it. You're telling other people. That's sort of my goal. If I do the job right, I'd like you to be doing what Graham just did. He was excited about a result. That's where we're going. And we're on the way. And if you think, well, how close am I to getting there? Here's how you know. There's checkpoints for week 5. See the ones in yellow? Those are added from last week. If you can do these things, you are on the right place. If you can't do them all yet, because some of you joined later, just start over. When the cycle begins, stay in it, and you'll catch up, and you'll have all of these things. By the end of our time together, when we have completed 7 weeks of checkpoints, if you can put a little check mark in each of those boxes, then you'll be in the right place. And I think we've shared this with you earlier, but just so that you know, and I'm going to sort of simplify what I have open right now, but I'm going to take that tab and I'm going to go to here and click on circle. Just in case you don't know, this is where you can find all of this in MEC 50 Get Productive. And we'll come back to this because Eugene and Tracy and Irene and Alexander are starting to get their homework done. And we'll talk about what that means and why it's important going forward. You can also ask questions in here. You can see all the other courses and classes and keep up with us. Okay? Now, back to, I'm going to drag that out of the way. And I think I just opened that over my notes. So let's go back to my notes and we'll keep going. And I need to go here. Boom. All right. So if you can say yes to these, you're caught up. Now, let's just remember last week, one of the most important things, let's just go to the main thing from last week so you know what you should be really focused on from last week. Last week, we showed you how to use a directory, how to get the right question. We talked about how to use the resource tab, how to image edit. It's powerful now, guys. You can do a lot there, and how to use the headline tool. Those pieces right here, you can get all this if you missed it by going back to circle and look over here where it says video library. You can get a replay of MEC 50 from last week. There it is, September 5th, 2024, and you'll watch that. So if you have any things you're not sure of, you can pick it up here. With that said, we go back to our notes and let's talk about your assignment. I'm a little concerned about this piece, so I need to ask for your help here. How many of you produced a master context document? We taught it last week in MCD. If you did, would you just wave at me? And if you can be on video, we'll do a better job of learning together. How many of you did? Just wave at me. Did you create that? Okay. So that was our homework assignment. So I have a question for you. Is the problem me? Did I not communicate it clearly? Did I not give you good direction? Did I do a bad job of teaching? Because I'm not doing this just for fun. I'm doing it to help you. And you got to do your part or you shouldn't even be in here. So somebody talk back to me. What's going on here? What am I doing wrong? Some of you, like, I don't expect you to, Leon, some of you already got all this stuff. I understand that. But some of you, don't. And I just want to make sure that I am communicating clearly. Because when I looked and saw 4 of these done, I thought, well, everybody that didn't is going to have a subpar result unless they already have done it. So what are your thoughts? Don't be shy. I need to hear from you.
I don't think I fully understood what the master context document was, and I plan to go back to the video. But yeah, I didn't fully understand what it was for.
Okay.
But that's probably me, not you.
Well, you started later. Remember, you didn't start in the beginning. So I think you weren't here from the first one. You came in a bit later into the series, right?
No.
Have you been here from day one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do I need to review that then? So we'll just stop there. Who else doesn't understand that? Anybody? Lynn, do you understand it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So let's go back and look at what we talked about last week. What is the MCD? All it does is give context so that when you ask a question, it can give you a better answer. Eugene, do you have a website I can look at? I'm going to create an MCD for you on the fly.
Yeah, sure, Flint. Leon, should we do Reap Academy?
Yep.
Okay, reapacademy.co.za, please.
So if I put in Reap Academy in the search engine, is it one word or two?
There it is, just below the
right here? Right
No, no.
Just take the space away.
Is this it?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay, I'll go back. Tell me again.
You're on it. Reap.coza.
Okay.
No gap, Flint. Don't put the gap there.
All right. Mind the gap.
Mind the gap.
There it is.
There it is. Right there. First result.
Coza.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. I like to go in right through the search engine. So now they're going to throw all their ads in front of me. You tell me when I finally get to what I just searched for. Google is
If you go to the top, you'll see.
I see Facebook.
Keep going up. You see there, do you want results for reapacademy.coza?
Is that it?
No.
Yeah.
I think just type in your...
I did. See, look at there.
Yeah, I know. That's not it.
What you're looking at is the reason Google is a disaster. They have lost their way in so many levels. It's unbelievable. So let's just type the URL in, okay?
Yeah.
www.reapacademy.co.za. I think he said Z, you Americans. Did you hear that?
Yeah, Z.
I lived in Canada, for years in London. All right. So just as a use case for everybody so that we consolidate last year's learnings, there we are. All right. Now, it's often your homepage. It looks to me like that's my primary choice. So if I want to get the basis of what you do, it's probably right here on the homepage. Is that the best page?
Yep.
Now, Alexander, you've been working along here. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to, and Tracy, I think in a note, I realized you put in circle, one of you put in there that you don't have access to Web Page Analyzer because it's at the $300 level. Is that right? So let's do it 2 different ways, okay? First of all, let's do it with a simple, the easiest, fastest way. And I will just do Control-Alt, Control-C. And now I'm going to go to MeclabsAI. I'm going to get a fresh chat. I'm going to make sure this is in MEC 50. There it is. I'm in the right workspace where others of you can see and share and things I'm doing. I have a new chat. I'm going to spool up an app called Web Page Analyzer. I'm going to paste this in and I'm going to go boom. I could have pasted in the URL but Google didn't even recognize it. And I just didn't want to take a chance, and this is all here right now. Here's your headline on that website. Here's your CTA on that website. Here's your main bullet points. Here's your core pricing. Here's your value prop, and here's your main evidentials. Here's how we can help improve the page. Now just stay there, because all we really want is this piece right here. But this is because we have Web Page Analyzer, and some of you don't have that level of the offering. So I'm going to show you how to do a version of this without it. Are you ready? And I'm going to recommend that if you are working with me right now, we're going to do better together. So I'm not, if you're a leader and you've already got this, ignore me. But for the rest of you, let's build the document. Let's do it right now. Please go to your landing page. If you have Web Page Analyzer, do what I just did. If you don't, do what I'm suggesting here. I'm going to ask you to paste your results in chat. I want to see them come in, and I want to analyze them. So I'm pulling over toolbar so I can see that. I'm going to open chat so I can watch it. Was someone going to say something? All right. How many of you I'll tell you what, just start pasting them in. I'll show you the other way in case you are at the essential plan level of $100 a month. Okay. Now I'm going to create a new chat without any of that. Boom, MeclabsAI. And this time I'm going to spool up an expert. And I'm just going to ask AI Mentor to help me with this. That's an expert. And as you learned last week, if you don't know which expert to use, you can click right here and see a directory of the experts and see which one to use. However, we don't need to do that because we know we're going to use AI Mentor. So I'll go back and I'll click on that. AI Mentor, where are you, buddy? There he is. All right, that means that he's going to help answer this question. And so I'll go right here to AI Mentor, and I'm going to paste all that in a second. But first, I'm going to do this. If you're tracking with me, have MeclabsAI open and start typing just what I do right now. I'm going to actually do it in voice, and I'm going to record it using MeclabsAI. Here we go. I need to create a document that will inform all of my prompts going forward, period. Please review this page and extract the most important elements. I'm stopping that now. I'll take that part out. And right here, I could list them, or I could just let it do it on its own. To give me a more precise answer, let's do this, guys. Type with me now. I'll type them so it'll go slower. Headline, CTA. When I see a headline and a CTA, I see the book, I see the first chapter and the last chapter, and I get the whole flow. Value prop, offer, core pricing. That's a good start, right? I'm going to do one more thing. Put all this in a table. Now, I want you to literally wave at me when you've got this entered. We can all do this. Can I see y'all? All right. I'm waiting for anybody else. And Paul, if you can go on video, not if you can't because where you're at, it's okay. But you can wave digitally if you'd like. All right. And Graham's got it. Good. So I'm going to hit the send button, but I don't hit it yet. Watch what I do now. I'm going to do a shift enter. I do this just so it's clear for me. So I will do Control V. Boom. I just pasted that web page in there. So you'll see the prompt in a second. I hit send. You can see I pasted this stuff. But I want it more concise and more usable. So here it all comes. Look there. There it is all coming, Tracy. Now, that's all I need to get started. Okay? I will show you as this class unfolds how we're going to go back and pick up the MCA, the master, or the MCD, the master context document, and use it to get better answers. But I'm going to go back now to where we are today. So that was a discussion of our assignments, but we are attacking this key point, how to go from a basic query into a deep, powerful result. That's where most of you get trapped. You quit too soon. This is why we say it is not a vending machine. You don't put a quarter in. You put, some work in, and you get out 100 times what you put in. That's called a return on investment, okay? And in this case, it's a return on your energy investment. How would you like to have a much stronger ROI for the time you spend with MeclabsAI? That's where we're going today. That's what we need to learn. Before I go any further, who has tried what we've said, had any troubles, or has a question? Anybody have a question? Now, before I answer that, Lynn, I'm still looking at chat. Tracy, did you get a response back with your MCD? Did you get the table back? Did you do the work with me?
No, I got an error message. I'm going to do it again.
If we need to, I'll have you share your screen. Who got an answer back? All right, paste it in chat. Everybody, I'm watching to see your document. So I can't go to the next day. And some of you are in the same company. So, I mean, I'm not like going to make everybody report on a checklist, but get your answers in there. Don't use that. Paste it. Just copy the table that you produced and paste it in here. I want to see it. I don't want to go to the chat. So just paste it in. The easiest way to do that is Control C if you're on Microsoft products, and then Control V right into your chat. I'll watch them as they come in because we're going to need them today to make progress. There's one. All right, there's one from Tracy. Well done, Tracy. All right. Boom. There's one from Beth. All right. Beth, guys, that's called a sneeze break. All right. So I'm seeing them come in now. They don't worry too much about. You've already got so much value in what I'm seeing coming out that we can use it a lot. So just paste in your table. Anybody have a question now? Yes, Adrian, go ahead. And then Christy, go ahead, Adrian.
When you do this kind of thing, and say you're doing it in a workspace you created for a particular project, does it always remember it, or do you have to go back and do it again and again?
Well, let's talk about that. I want to actually show you that, and I'm thinking about how I show you that. I think the best way would be to say this. There are two ways you can do it. If you're at the essential level, you just need to keep this information ready to paste at the beginning of your conversation. Just paste it in once and go. If you're at the next level, here's what I would do. And folks, we'll do this reasonably fast, but there's a recording and it's quite straightforward. Let's suppose I wanted this information right here, okay? Watch what I do. Let's get a copy of it first. It's hard to copy on here sometimes. I don't know why, but here's what I'll do. If that copied properly, we'll see it work. I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to go to prompts. I went to settings, I went to prompts. At the advanced level of MeclabsAI, that's the middle tier, you can create your own. So here's what you do is you create a prompt. Let's make it right now, new prompt. We paste it here. We call this MCD. Don't worry if it doesn't look like a table. It knows how to reorganize it as a table. MCD, master context document. And I'm going to, it's already saved and it tells me it's saved. I could share that right now with my client. Adrian, you could create that for the client. Any one of you with an agency could do this and make it a service. You create the context document. It doesn't matter if you do it in 5 minutes. It only matters how valuable it is to them. And it's very valuable. But what I'll do with that prompt is just keep it. Now, look, I won't share it. I'm just going to go back to prompts. And there it is. See that prompt right there? Now, let's suppose that I'm wanting to do something in the future, like create an expert or an app or a library. If I was creating an expert right now, I would create new expert. I could name him. I'm going to call him test. I could give him a description, which will show up in your directory. I could say, use MecLab's methodology. I even have a template in place. Let's suppose I fill that out and I make my expert. Now I can click on linked prompts. Now by clicking on new prompt right here, which is a linked prompt. Whoops, no, I don't want a new prompt. Let's go back. I think I can do add remove. Yeah. Now CMCD, I click it and I hit save. And now this expert is always being informed, or my app or my library, by this context of this prompt. This one was a mistake. I just did that by accident, so I could just delete it in the prompt section, which I won't do right now. I wonder if I can do it here. I go over here to prompts. I pick that one that right there, untitled, and delete it. I'll show you. Untitled, action, delete. It's gone. Now let's go back to my expert. Oh, it's in use. So we'll deal with it later because I haven't saved that yet. But let's go over to expert. And we had Tess was the name of the expert. Let's pull him up. And look, he has right down here, MCD. And now you can link that to everything you do. And think about use cases that go beyond just context. You could create prompts about how you want things to be done every time, things you don't want done every time, words you don't want said every time. And you can link that prompt to all your future experts, apps, and libraries to produce a consistent output. I'll give you an example. What if you created a Facebook expert just for your vertical? And so this Facebook expert was a master at writing Facebook ads to appeal to small businesses who are focused on growing their revenue, and they have a, let's call it a home service business, like a plumber. And let's suppose you have access to an association with lots of plumbers, where you could create that Facebook expert, and then you could have a universal prompt like this that has all of Facebook compliance issues, and it runs behind the ad to make sure it's compliant. And suddenly you've got a real value to deliver to that client. All the plumbers in the world will love you. Forgive my primitive use case, but can you see? So the MCD is important. And what we've seen this morning is that there are two ways to use it. You can go in, let's go here, and you can use Web Page Analyzer, and you can get this information. The other way to use it is that you can just paste it in and ask Marketing Professor to help you create it. You can use the exact wording that I have right here. And if you don't have that exact wording, I will take it right now, 1, 2, 3. Some of you typed it with me, but I'm pasting it right here so you have a copy of it. Then all you need to do, if you're just at the $100 level and you don't even understand about all that prompt stuff, you can do what I'm going to share with you in a moment. I'll show you how to just paste it in and keep going to get a great answer in your conversation. Yes, there's another question. Adrian, yes?
Yeah, sorry, Flint. I can see what you're saying about MCDs, but my question was, and what I've been doing, and I might be using this wrongly, is I've been setting up a workspace for each client or each project, and then I've been saying to the workspace, here's the web analyzer stuff. This is other stuff I know about it. I want you to remember it and use it in every session in that workspace. Will that be working, or do I need to do it with this MCD thing?
It won't be working until we allow, there's a new capability for chats to remember certain things that we're folding into the API.
Right, okay.
I think, Adrian, we're going to bring it in with GPT-5, which is about to be released.
Okay, that's cool.
People are saying is 100x more powerful.
Yeah.
Imagine that we put a brain 100 times smarter behind what you're doing right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool because I wasn't getting the results I was expecting, and I thought I was probably misunderstanding something. So
that's it. So right now it's the best way to do it is to create the MCD, but in the future you'll also be able to have it remember things.
Okay, cool.
And it's way more flexible than, say, like GPT's custom instructions, because it's limited characters. You can make this as complex as you can do so much more here. And we'll keep going. You could also have a master prompt that, let me give you another example. Suppose you're selling stuff and you do some work for clients right in here and you produce the work. You could have a master prompt that helps you sell the next work, and it's attached to every single chat. It works to sell the next piece. It outlines next, it literally it's connected to the output, and then it sells more services for you. Suppose you're like Betsy. She's not here today. She's catching this by recording. But if you're building ICP for customers, you might have a prompt that says, we also offer these 3 services. Would you like to learn more about them? And you can make that master prompt built there and say, always in by suggesting this, series of questions. And it literally leads right to an upsell. Do you guys follow the logic of that? I'll move on if you just give me a good nod and I think you get what I'm saying. Okay. There's an unlimited number of ways that, you can make this work. Drew just sent an, all right, I guess that wasn't for here. All right, let me keep going. And I'm going to go back to our notes, and we're going to start learning how the MCD connects with today's biggest challenge, and that is, how do we go from a basic query into deep, powerful results? Okay? And to help you with that, I'm going to begin to teach something right here. Across all work and research and thinking, and one of our advantages in MecLabs is that we've been studying not just the psychology of yes, but thinking and the frameworks that power better thinking. My training in philosophy was in epistemology, which is how we know things. And for 30 years, I have been thinking about thinking. And it's interesting that if I was in a room with a group of academics, I would probably be recommending that we deploy the same techniques I'm going to recommend that you deploy with MeclabsAI. And the point of this is to take a cursory answer and develop it into a more powerful answer. And you're going to see that in my outline, I have a series of techniques, and each has an associated prompt. And there's an explanation of that and why that prompt works. And these are not performed in order. These are a menu of activities. I'm going to close that completely, Steve, just a second. I just don't want to close the window. I want it out of my tray. I don't want all those messages coming in, team. They seem to be interrupting. So I'm going to say quit and see if I can kill it. All right. Look at what we have. A series of techniques with a prompt. There are 7 we're going to learn today. And I'm going to give all 7 to you, and we're going to see how they could be utilized in a practical use case. Some of you joined late, where we situated all of this in the orientation of what we've learned so far. But this is session 5, and its title is, It is a Genius, Not a Vending Machine. How to get powerful results with deep, rich interactions. That vending machine mentality is, I put a question in and my business grows because I get a brilliant answer. Doesn't work that way. All right. So we're going to go to MeclabsAI. We're going to go back and forth between these techniques for deepening our results. And we're going to start by integrating our MCD. So let's go over here and let's take this. And let's suppose that we want to get a rich, deep question answered. And I'm going to have a contest. Could you get ready to type, please, all of you? And I'm going to ask you to pose in chat a practical question for your business. A question practical enough that if you got a good answer today, you could actually use it, not just learn something about prompting. I want to focus on the result. And I want to test it against the real world where people need a result. So type, go. I'm going to look at these as they come in. Just think about what's on your mind when you're shaving in the morning, or what's on your mind when you're eating breakfast or having your cup of coffee. The thing that you want to really get an answer to, it's kind of tough. How can I increase my prices by 50%? That's a great question. Put some more in here. We're going to pick one and we're going to go deep. How do I identify the best possible target market for this? That's a great question too. What else, guys? What else? Let's get some more in here. There you go. How to build a massive email database off real estate agents. All right. Is that of real estate agents or off? Okay, it's of real estate agents. I think that's better said that way, don't you think? All right. Look at what Tracy typed in. How can I spam and get away with it? Wait, that wasn't Tracy. I'm just teasing you, Tracy. All right. How can I best approach my client to get them hungry? That's great. How do I build the best offer? All right. Now, folks, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. These are good, and this is what we need. And I'm going to ask that you work with me, but not in the way we have in the past where you're watching. I'm going to slow down and have you do this with me. So if you have a question that's important to you, get MeclabsAI ready. Watch as I guide us. I'm going to pick one of these questions and I'm going to start to try to answer it. But to try and answer the question, I'm going to use techniques that you're going to learn, and I'd like you to use them at the same time. Instead of one person getting a good result today, how would you like to have every person virtually on this call get a good result? If you're working from the same company, then you can team up and you can even share chats and you can even look in the same workspace. But we're going to start right now. Ready? All right, let's begin. I'll scroll right up to, I think, the first question. I like it because it's an aggressive question and it involves probably some of our other experts. So I'm going to take this question by Graham. And we're going to have a fresh instance of MeclabsAI. And Graham, right now in chat, please paste your MCD. All right. Your master context document, just that little table. No worries.
Okay.
All right. Is that in chat now? All right, now, folks, watch what I do. I'm going to come right over here. No, I don't see it yet. Oh,
Just a second. There you go.
all right. It's coming
Oh,
in.
it's got more characters than allowed. So if I can just kill off a bit. There you go.
All right. There we go. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm copying this chat piece. Okay. Boom. Now, understand that if we have, this is a very important learning, okay? If we have 20 questions that we ask, when the chat begins, it is distinguished as a set and it sends the entire set back through our system to get your answer. That's valuable when you want to keep the thread. It confuses the LLM if you start something new and you don't start with a fresh chat because it's trying to answer based on a completely different conversation that happened earlier. And that's no different than a human being. It's like stopping in mid-sentence and asking something, the other person doesn't know what you're saying. Often, if you think more about this like a human being, you'll get a better result. So I go to MeclabsAI and I have clicked there. Why? That gives me a fresh chat. See, there's nothing else. I'll hit this twice. Remember navigation? So I have more space to work with. I have a directory up here that'll help me if I need an expert in an outdoor library, and I can look at them. I have this space to work with, and all of it will be saved in my workspace. I will paste this in as information, and then I'm going to ask a plain question, and it is the one that Graham began with earlier. I'll just type it in. How do I increase my price by 50%? And it probably doesn't need me to do what's next, but just like with a human being on my team, if I'm not sure they understand me, I'll just say this. Use the info above to help me build a strategy. All right, we all see that now? We see what I just did. We pasted your MCD in. Now, my next move is to get the right expert. If you're keeping up with me, you should have all been pasting your MCD in. And you paste it in and then ask the question that you put in chat yourself. Ask it that question. When you believe yours is pasted in, would you just nod or wave so I can see that when I see the majority of you have caught up, I'll move on. But I'm not going to leave you behind. I won't wait for every person, but I just need to see most of us nodding our heads and I'll move on. All right. I think we're getting there now. Now I want to change. I'm going to show you my list of experts. Here they are. Which one would you use for this question? My question.
Pricing strategist.
Yeah, so let's go there. And you should do the same now. Pick the right expert. Okay. And then once you've picked the right expert, hit send. And here we go. Something's happening. So there's the MCD at the top. There's the question down below. And wow, I like the answer already. First thing is to strengthen your value proposition. Another is an incremental increased pricing, leverage psychological pricing, focus on niche marketing, offered bundled services, do transparent communication, monitor feedback and adjust. Now, this is real stuff. Like that is the reason I'm impressed is that's probably the number one way to get away with a price increase. Case in point, we helped the New York Times build their digital offer, 300 of their past run on our servers. We grew the business together from 0 to 500 million. They said, hey, we own this other little paper called the Boston Globe and they're tanking. Can you help us? The Globe had been purchased for, I think, nearly $1 billion and its value is now under 100 million. and they were going out of business if something didn't change. They had two websites. One was free and the other was the newspaper. Their value prop was confusing and they were tanking. This is all, you can actually look the case studies up in Marketing Sherpa because the person running the Globe did a bunch of interviews and videos on what happened. But what we did was strengthen the value proposition. Eventually, they were the only newspaper in the business that increased prices by 74% when everybody else was discounting. Why? Because they had a stronger value prop. Now, you can say that's an interesting story and it's encouraging, but no, it's not just an interesting story. That is a case study in our 10,000 experiments that tells pricing strategists how to think. Do you see? And pricing strategists knowing that is telling you start with your value prop. He's right. But suppose you got back this answer. You might not know what to do next. And that is the point of today. There are two things you do right now. Imagine this is a person and go to that visceral feeling inside that comes with this answer. When you read it, not the politically correct thing, not what you think you want me to say or I want you to say, but let's go back to you, Graham. So if you got this list, what are you feeling inside about it? Where is there confusion or where do I start? Like, what is your visceral response to this?
It's very much that. It's where do I start and tell me more about the value proposition change, which that's this obvious way that I've got to go. I think it's the obvious way to go forward.
So I wanted you to look at two things every time. This is the way to do this. Never think of it as MeclabsAI. Think of it as a team member. You're holding a meeting. You've just called your pricing strategist into your office. You're asking him, what do I do? He gives you this answer. It's great, but you're a leader. It's not enough. It's not enough, right? So you have this instant response. You'd feel it in your gut if you were in a meeting with him. And that's what you just did, Graham. Okay, but where do I start and which one is most important? All right. Now, that is the first move you make. What is the second? You go over here and you look at which one of these techniques might get you a better answer. There are 7. So I think we will first just put in that visceral response or the visceral response. So let me go over to MeclabsAI and say, I'll just make it bigger. Wait, am I in the right version of it? I think, is it already here? Here it is. Okay, let me close that other one. All right, so here we are. I'm going to dictate. Ready? I don't know where to start, and I don't know how to prioritize these recommendations. What would you suggest? Now, I'm going to say something that at first will sound like I'm being either politically incorrect or politically correct. I'm not sure which one. But I'm going to show you the power of diversity, the real diversity, not a political correct version, but diversity that matters. And here's how you'll see it. Given the uncertainty about where to start and how to prioritize recommendations for implementing a 50%, let's simplify the approach based on the insights from the document titled Value Prop. First, enhance your value prop. Clear communication of the benefits. Introduce dynamic content. It's actually saying start with the value prop, and it's telling you how. Prioritize and highlight key offerings. Facilitate feedback and get iterative. Okay, that's pretty good. But I think I want to get more diverse opinions. So here's what I'm going to say. Please look at the reply from price strategists and give me your opinion. Now I've got a conversion expert looking at a pricing expert's opinion. Isn't that what you do in a meeting, Leon? You have your team all contribute to the thinking.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, integrated insights from the customer-centric justification, A/B testing should happen, enhanced communication strategies, and iterative feedback loop. Good. So I need to do more about testing. So before I go any further, and I'm just right now following my gut, but I'm about to employ one of those techniques. Still, I'm going to go to a data scientist and say, what is your opinion on the best way to raise my prices by 50%? And how do I conduct a test to confirm I'm moving in the right direction? Now, I want to say this again. This is a team meeting, and you're using common sense. Did you hear that? That's your guide. Follow your gut, use common sense, treat it like a team. Now we're going to get data scientists weighing in. Incremental increases, enhanced value proposition, transparent. See, we're getting a pattern here. Now I'm going to get interesting. Before I go further, let's go back over here. So you might say, based on your previous response, how does working on the value proposition lead to a 50% price increase? What am I really doing? I'm saying here, I'm saying break down your thinking in a chain of thought. I need to see the chain of thought that led to this. So you're going back into their thinking. That's exactly what you do with your son if he was explaining why he believes the American Revolution was X. Show me your thinking. Share with me how you got here. That's what a tutor would do. Let's go to another one. Divergent questioning. Can you explore alternative perspectives or solutions? Isn't that what I was just doing a little bit? Well, let's try it a different way. Let's try it this way. Let's just capture that, Control C. And let's put it in here. I'm going to go up to the top, make sure. Yes, I'm going to go right here. And I'm just going to, instead of calling up experts, I'm going to force it to do this. It was data scientist. I think I'll go back to marketing professor. And I pasted that prompt in. Alternative perspectives or solutions. Let's see what happens. Based on the best practices for implementing significant price increases in premium services. See what it's doing? It's telling you that it knows exactly what you're trying to do. Let's read that again. Based on best practices for implementing significant price increases in premium services, your strategy for raising prices by 50% and conducting tests, it's confirming. Emphasize, isn't this the very best thing, Graham? Now look at my answer. Emphasize exclusivity. That is the core. That's not just the value prop. That's the single most important of the 4 elements of its power. And it's focused on just the right one. Structured feedback. Boy, that's exactly right. If I were you, Leon, and you were consulting, this is what you would say. Okay? Clear communication. That's the truth. You got to get this part right too. And look at this. Gradual, if possible, gradual implementation. And then here's how to test. Now, let's assume that you like this. Data scientist is a math expert. He's a MeclabsAI. He'll build a robust testing plan, which you're going to need if you were doing this at scale, Graham. But you'll do it probably qualitatively as opposed to quantitatively, and you'll get a read in the first 2 or 3 conversations you have as you stress test your idea. Now, let's just stop, folks. You're staring at my screen, and I'm afraid you're not following up on yours. So, how many of you have already asked another expert the same question? If you haven't, pause for a moment, take a moment, pick an expert and ask the question. I'll slow down. And while you're doing the catch up, I'll answer any questions. And we'll continue here. We're not done. We're going to go deeper. We're going to make this more. We only have 8 minutes, but we're going to go deep. Yes, Adrian.
The thing I struggle with this is, why am I having to ask multiple experts? If I'd got all these people in my team, I would say to my team, this is what I want to achieve. Go away, argue out amongst yourself and come up with a strategy. Why do I need to say, ask this expert, ask that expert? And I can't just say to them, go away and come up with the best answer.
Well, actually, if I was in a meeting with my team and I had 5 specialists in the room, they have overlapping perspectives. And I can tell you as a leader, I get better when I get people with overlapping perspectives to give me their thinking. So I really want a pricing strategist to be challenged by someone who thinks differently but has a common body of knowledge. And this is if I was in a room without AI. And I will tell you that even if they went away and I want the best answer, I'm not just going to accept the one they come back with and put in a line in front of me. I'm going to ask them deeper questions, probe their thinking, and make sure I'm making the right decision. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a shortcut. Okay? And I can show you that shortcut right now. But I will tell you that I sometimes get an interesting perspective by combining diverse training sets. Mm-hmm. And so what I'll do now, though, is I'll show you the shortcut, but I first want to nod. If you all spooled up a couple of experts and asked questions, okay? And remember something else, team. I'm not saying do that every time either, Adrian. I'm saying that is really divergent questioning. That is one technique in here. and I did it organically. You could have done it by expanding on this prompt, which I'll show you in a moment. But you could also do comparative analysis. The other day, I picked a fight in here. And then I did something really interesting, which I'll show you before we're done. But I might decide for the nature of the question I want to do historical perspective. How has this evolved over time? And how has this solution been solved in the past? You see what I'm saying? Don't see this as a set of steps. See it as a menu. Pick the one that's best for you. It's okay if you make the wrong one. You can look at it and delete it. The chat's editable. Doesn't matter. If you don't like that one, do what you do with the person. Go ask another one or ask a deeper question. But to your point, Adrian, especially, by the way, when GPT-5 is unleashed, because its reasoning capabilities might be 100x. And GPT-5 and Google are powering the brain. And on top of the brain are all the layers of our methodology. But when we get a bigger brain, oh my, you can't even imagine what we'll do next, because it'll do things. It's going to shock you. When we went to an advanced version of GPT, people went to sleep one night and woke up the next night and it could speak Persian. Nobody still knows how. The bigger that brain gets, the more surprises are there. But let's back up. Let's go here. So to his place, I'm going to say this is very good. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Somebody tell me.
To build on it.
A human being
contradict it.
needs to know when they're on the right track. So does this tool. You're giving it a feedback signal. This is just a signal. It's a signal set that, okay, you're moving where I want you to go now. All right. Now I could deploy what Adrian said, and I'll do it in a very different way. I'll say something like this. I need a step-by-step plan that will indicate the very fastest way to get to my discovery, period. My key discovery is the best, most efficient way to raise my prices by 50%, period. I would like 3 opinions from 3 different experts that you create on the fly in order to help me get real final clarity. I'm not done, because the next question is where you see the power of that. So now a marketing professor is going to reach into all of his training, and he's going to have expert opinion 1, value proposition specialist, step-by-step action plan, audit your current value prop, develop your messaging that highlights unique aspects, revise the landing page, opinion 2, a price strategy analyst, implement a phased pricing strategy. Instead, that's exactly what they'd say too. Step-by-step action plan, expert opinion 3, customer experience director. And you have this, it's very nice, it's very concise, it's tight. And I will say this, I'm not sure which decision is best, period. Spool up someone who thinks like Jeff Bezos, review all of this conversation, and recommend what Jeff would recommend to solve this problem. I am actually not a Bezos fan, but obviously he's a smart man who's produced results. And so channeling Jeff Bezos' decision-making style into the context of finding the best strategy for a 50% price increase. By the way, Leon, you do this in a room with a prospect? Okay, look. Now, you guys tell me if this isn't right. This is Bezos, long-term value over short-term gains. Obsess over customers. Guys, this is Bezos. Do you see, we've read all of his annual reports. We've done all kinds of things. Experimentation and iterate. These are all 3 hallmarks of his management style. And based on that, this is the recommendation after the fist fight between the other 3. So, Adrian, it's not impossible. Do you see? Okay.
I like that.
All right. Now, guys, let's go back over here and say, let's look at a prompt that says hypothesis testing. You could now use this and have it construct a hypothesis based on what you have currently in your offer. And that, Graham, would be me going in more detail about my current offer, saying, what should I change about what is your current offer? Where can I see it?
On my webpage, which is finallyfettled.co.uk.
All right. So I already had the web page on there. So I'll just see. I wouldn't even go there because our time, I might paste it in the card again, but rather than do that. So it might not, it's so early in the conversation, but let's try it. We'll just say, read the offer at the top of this conversation and then give me a hypothesis for a new offer with new pricing and new features, period. Be very specific and we will refine and optimize it afterwards. You say, I don't know if I'd have thought of be very specific I just am thinking like I would think if I was talking to my team. And that's when this will come naturally. Stop talking to AI, start talking to your team. You'd know to say that, some version of it. Give me your best thinking and we'll try to improve it. That's all I'm saying. You know why I said it? So that it doesn't get stuck on this, that it knows that we can just start with something, we'll improve it. Let's see if it even sees the offer. Based on the insights gathered, principles outlined in the documents from our search, the new offer hypothesis, the premier affluent insight suite, exclusive insight access, enhanced personalization engine, authority content series, new pricing, justified by a tiered access level with a basic tier, advanced tier, a premium tier, the price increase justification, implementation, and testing. Do you see what I mean, team? This is not Dribbble. This is not GPT. This is the kind of clarity that comes on the other side of a robust conversation. Look, do a soft launch. That's exactly right. Then do a quiet A/B test and then get iterative feedback. All of this is what you would pay a consultant to give you, and they wouldn't give you any better. And I can tell you further that if this was a spreadsheet with 100 items, I could just feed the spreadsheet in here and keep doing the same thing. And it'll do all the math. It'll look at the pricing. It'll do the SKUs. It'll do all of it. So my question for you today is, are you starting to get a glimpse of how to leverage these techniques to go deeper? All right. It is the top of the hour. Paul Girard, help us by sharing what you think is some of the most important thing we've said today. And others, could you put it in chat? Your goal here is to help each other. What's our takeaway? What are you going to walk away with? While you do that, I'm going to listen to Paul and I'm going to get you this framework. So go ahead, Paul.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway is using each of the different experts to come up with a different perspective. And I actually prefer to do it one at a time because I think you get more in-depth response as opposed to doing it as a collective until the content window gets bigger and it can give us more back in the future. This doing it one step at a time is great.
There is a cheat that you might do. You know that first answer that came in from when we did the combined experts, not one at a time? All you would say is, this is great, but it's too cursory. Expand on all these ideas. The word expand. And you'll get a robust reply still then, Paul, you'll get a robust reply by telling it to be more robust. It was deliberately shortening it so you could grasp the concepts and pick one to double down on. But if you want to, you can double down on all of them, all in one prompt. You could even take the original prompt and specify how much detail you want, and it'll come back with the initial reply. But I like that short, concise one. And I still think it's valuable to sometimes pull up other experts. Yes, Paul.
I do have one other real quick question. Could you also take your context document and create a library with it so that every expert they use could have that library as the reference?
I was waiting for a smart guy to say that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Libraries are so killer. And folks, I cannot tell you in a week, watch what happens. I think we've just created a way to make websites look like flip phones. I think we've just created the new smartphone. And I'm going to share that with you. Within a week, it's already on staging being tested. There's no need for a website when you see what we stood up. You just need it for credibility. But frankly, all the work will be done. Nobody's got to search it and do all the stupid stuff we do in websites. Libraries are a key to that. We're going to be able to stand up a library with an expert and a series of apps, customer facing, powered by an avatar, and you don't have to do any more. I was in a previous call today for Monotype. I mentioned them. Do you know what they did there? Elizabetta and John Bush indexed the entire website, made a library out of it, and then built an expert in selecting fonts. Did you hear what they did? They indexed the entire website. That capability is in libraries, and it's also API driven. But it does make you validate that it's your own website. So if you've tried it and it didn't work before, it's because you have to validate it's your own website, but it can be done. So instead of like going back over all your stuff, wear out that some of you got huge websites. What if you just turn it into a library? It's transformational. So you're on the way. Folks, tell your friends. I'm not saying this. You've never heard me on YouTube. When's the last time you heard me on YouTube say like, subscribe, or whatever that stuff? It's like, I figure if you like me, you like me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not playing Google's game. And so this isn't like a sales technique right now. It's just that we're going to do more. We're going to discover more if we expand this community. It is growing faster than I can explain right now. But there's not enough people in 50 right now. There's a lot of people that have signed up that haven't come here, and they're missing out on what they need to get the value out of their investment. And if you're a reseller, we got to figure out how to solve for that. But we all need to just reach out, because I've had my kids, anybody I know, it's like, this is your moment. This is the time in history. This is it. This is now. This is the time. And I know some of you get that. But what you just saw today, man, you combine that with the strategic level, and we're going places. Thank you. I want to let you go. I'm grateful that you keep putting up with me week after week. Adrian, you're killing it. We're all excited to see what you're doing. He has an idea to create an expert that might make a lot of value for all of you. All I'll say is it's related to SEO. It's brilliant. And you're going to want what he's doing if he builds it. I'll see you later, guys.